Well, I was born in Puerto Rico, dark-skinned Puerto Rican. I have a lot of siblings that are a range of colors. Um, at my birth, I had brothers, two brothers, older brothers, Reggie and Eddie. And I seen pictures of us as kids, but I never knew or met them or had an incident or remembering how to interact with them. My parents had known family, a black family that married into our family, and they had all girls, and they wanted a son. And my mother adopted me to them, and I was the one boy who grew up with three girls. Came to California, moved to Long Beach, California, and went through life a little different and struggling. Life was a little harder for me. Learning the language, catching on to the basicism of it was a little different, but I kind of adapted to it. It was kind of cool. I met a lot of Mexicans in Long Beach. It was cool because they spoke Spanish and I did too, so it's kind of the connection was cool. Hung back and chilled, enjoyed life and adapted. Had a few friends and things like that and got cool with the family and kind of interacted to it. Got into Southern food, pig feet and cornbread and collard greens and loved it. And it was a change from the carne asada burritos and stuff like that happened that I grew up with. But, you know, life is what it is. My mother and father, my adopted parents, my mother, Effie, my father, Charles, had their struggles. Life was a little funny. They were in and out of issues with themselves, but my mom was so protective of us that she did everything to make sure that we were cool. We get disciplined like everybody else did. If we messed up in our family, usually if one of us got in trouble, we all kind of got punished for it, and our parents started remembering different things like that happened. So we all were nervous when one of us got in trouble because we knew kind of whatever we did wrong that we'd catch an ass whooping for it. It's kind of unique, but hey, you know, life is what it is. I love my mom to death. She was my best and favorite friend. She was always there for me when things went wrong, when things got bad. She was my protector. She was my shield. Fell in love with my sisters. So in my family, my name is Tyven, but everybody calls me Ty. And all of us are T's. So my oldest sister is Tara, my second sister is Tina, and my youngest sister is Tabitha. So all of us grew up in a funny relationship of having T's, you know. And it was cool, life was perfect. I loved my sisters to death. My sister Tara was a little thug one. Tina was the super intelligent one, and Tab was the wild one like me. Things were crazy. Me and Tab got real close. I actually didn't get closer to my sister Tina until after I got older. Tara scared all of us because she had this, you know, mentality that things had to be run by her and the controlling faction. I love her to death. Now that we're older, I love my sisters to death, and I'll do any and everything for their approval. But as life progressed and things went on, I had an uncle and cousins who would come to the house and visit and relax, and would go in the garage and build stuff with my dad, who did a lot of construction and stuff like that. And they would come over and chill, and you know, things would happen and life would progress. Little did I know that growing up I was molested by my Uncle Buck and my cousin Alton. And this happened for years, from the age of 9 to maybe 15 or 16. I told my dad about it once, and nervous actually, telling him about it. And he didn't believe me. Told me to stop lying, and that if I lied again, that, you know, he would whip me and make sure I didn't go out or hang out and chill, or he wouldn't take me out or do things. My dad was in his own little world. He was a minister for a church, and everybody loved him. He was, you know, the fan favorite for everybody. But my dad abused my mom. he beat my mom relentlessly, and he would beat us, and everybody loved him in church and took care of him, and everything was done well. And he lived one life on the streets and in church, and then another one at home with us. My dad would take me to SeaWorld and the zoo and hang back and chill and kind of spoil me with things to keep a secret while he would have relationships with other girls. And he would take out and enjoy with them and hang back and chill. So I always saw my dad being with different girls, and one in particular that he ended up divorcing my mom to marry. And it was really hard. I was always nervous to say anything because I figured if I ever told on my dad, then he would stop taking me out and buying things for me and stuff like that. So he kind of bought my silence. And I kind of ran into life like that. Well, during the time of that happening, my uncles would come over and my cousins would come over and they would molest me for years, actually. And it happened at first and it freaked me out. And it was nerve-wracking, actually. After years of it happening and nobody believing, I got used to it. I got accustomed to the lifestyle. From being raped anally for years, I grew up and realized I was a lot more blessed in the front. And well, I had a great ass and everything, but I had a huge penis and people usually liked it. So I grew up in the neighborhood and would always walk around in shorts playing basketball and stuff like that. And certain people in the neighborhood would start picking up on it, and I started hooking up with different guys in the neighborhood. And we kept a huge big secret and tried to never tell anybody about it. There was one person in particular, a guy named DeMar. I loved him to death. And him and I, he was a black and Latin guy, and light-skinned, and him and I chilled and for years together. And there was also two twins that lived maybe 5 houses down the block from us, Matt and Brian. And for years, like all of us messed around with each other. And I had to keep a big secret from my sisters and brothers, from my sisters and my mom and parents. So I lived a perfectly straight life normally, even though undercoverly I was, sexually active with all the guys in the neighborhood. Then to keep the coverings, I got a girlfriends, Sparkle and Susan, who lived in the neighborhood, and became sexually active with them, and realized because of my experience with the guys that I was with, that I was really good at being enticing enough to gain approval from whether it was a guy or a girl. And they fell in love with me. And me never wanting to ever see what happened to me happen to anybody else, I became real recursive, real blocking of people who are getting near me. If I saw any abuse or anything happening around, because of what I saw from my dad doing to my mom, my adoptive parents, I pushed away from them. So if I seen somebody being physical or somebody snapping at a girl or something like that, I was real protective to jump up for somebody. Because of the raping that was still happening off and on, I needed protection. And my family, my adoptive family, were all like Crips in the neighborhood, and I didn't get along with them. So I joined a Hispanic gang and became an active gang member and lived the lifestyle and tried to keep it away from my family without them ever knowing. But I was learning how to fight, and I was really, really good at it. And got back together and got with a few of my homies from the neighborhood and decided we were going to get together and attempt to kill my cousin and my uncle. And I became a little more recursive about it, a little more strong and pushing back, and pushed away from everybody in the family and became relentless. I think my sister Tab was the first one to pick up on it, Tabitha. And she started realizing something was wrong, but never really wanting to to talk about it because, I thought nobody would believe me anyway, or that I would get in trouble because, I was a kid, I was a liar, and I did what I wanted to do. And I thought if I ever was honest about anything or things coming together, that people would jump on me for it. So, I ran away from home a couple times, moved away. And then when I became, after my 15th birthday, my mom and dad had broken up, and I was living with my dad at the time. And when the house in Long Beach on Pasadena 19th, I lived there and went to school and doing everything like normal. And I would sneak guys in and hang back and chill and sneak girls in. And then to make up for the faction of being a gay man, I had kids, many kids actually. I met with girls and got girls pregnant on purpose just so that my brothers, which I found out later, and my sisters, their mom and dad would never know about what was going on. Life was crazy. So I had an appeal, started working out, getting buffer. Then I started getting more into the gang life, and started getting in trouble, started getting arrested, doing time. And then while I was busted, I would meet cellies who, after we took a shower together and they see me naked, would get interested. And then I started switching cells with people and hooking up and enjoying being incarcerated, actually. I had officers and nurses and teachers and stuff as well. There were guys and girls who would give me, searches and seizures and check my body out and see that I was pretty blessed and get curious enough to want to do something. And so I started having sex with guys, girls, and workers and staff and cops, and to get approval to get away. My mom and dad, whenever I got in trouble in jail, would cut me away because they didn't want to support the habit that I was going through. My sisters, when I come home, were real cool and close with me. But when I was locked up, they would not show any approval to it. I wouldn't get any letters or writings or visits or anything like that. So kind of the tough love thing. So I got more life into the gang life and more into the homeboys and more into doing crimes and stealing cars and robbing people and fights and assaults and stabbings and the works. I was blessed to never get caught for the violent charges, but I would steal cars and get caught with stealing cars and a few assault charges and things like that. Then me being stupid and reckless growing up in life, I became a police explorer for the city of Long Beach as a junior cop. And I did it to understand the concept of how the cops were going to come and search the neighborhood for the gang life. I got real good at it, actually. So whenever they were going to do neighborhood searches for what was going on and what was going to happen, I would tell the homeboys to lie down, to stop doing what they were doing because they were going to do searches, and life moved on. I ended up getting caught in the process of being an active gang member, and I got kicked out of the police explorers, so I got more involved in the gang life. Then I started doing more time and started getting more violent and started getting more fights and more assault charges and more stealing cars. And I was so good at stealing cars, I could rob any car that came in contact with me. And I was so good at it that I would drive the cars and keep them for a while before I would take them away. And pick my homeboys up and drop them where they need to go and move on, and do that for about 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then get caught in the car, do 16 months, 3 years, come out, do it all over again. And my family looked at me like they never understood what was happening. I was being rebellious because, I was being molested and nobody would believe me. So, and I would never tell my sisters or anything because they weren't close like that. And as I started getting older, they see me acting reckless. They started pushing away from me. I didn't actually get closer to them until I became older. Dropped out of high school because I was incarceration during our graduation time. Got my GED while I was on parole. Got out, went to college, went to Westwood College of Technology for computer programming. got my associate's degree. Then I got locked up again. While I was incarcerated, went to Coastline College and got a bachelor's degree in business management. Moved out and lived life. In the whole process of everything happening to me, keeping a total secret and going on. I was with my ex-fiance, who was a guy, Edwin, and we were together from '96 till about maybe 4 or 5 months ago. We broke up in between. He cheated on me a couple of times with people, and I split up and go get with other guys and move on. Live life like normal. During the time all this happening, I would go to a gay church in Long Beach on Temple and 10th, and became real cool and calm and collective with the people there. And I met Jim, a guy who had a huge crush on me, and found out in the time of me doing my life that for work, I was the only high school kid who was still doing nude modeling and exotic dancing. So I was 16, 17, dancing in gay clubs, and because of my size and the body that I had at the time, they never courted me or asked me questions about my age or anything. So I was making money, living life, and doing what I had to do. Life was perfect, and it seemed. Well, during the time of that happening, I met some kid named Sean. He had a huge crush on me as well. He was one of Jim's friends. And Jim told me to go help the family out because he knew me being a gang member and being a fighter, that Sean needed help. So I went and met Sean and met this kid in Hangback and Chilled, and he told me that his mom's boyfriend was molesting him. So me trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho, I ran up and got real close to Sean and his family, and ended up meeting this guy who was molesting Sean, and went and got a couple of my homeboys, and we took the guy out and handled the situation, made sure it stopped. Thought everything was cool and everything was normal and everything was done. Sean was in a foster care home, and his grandmother lived in Idaho, Springfield actually, and she would fly in on the weekends and pick him up and then get a motel at Motel 6. And for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we would stay in the motel, hang back and chill and drink and relax and live like normal. And I liked going there because, I was being spoiled as a kid and I got whatever I wanted. This happened for years. And then by the time I turned, so let's see, now I'm 39. 7 years ago, I was 32. 4 years before that. So from the age of 28, I met the family, hang back and chilled. And I would go back, and me and Sean's grandmother would sit back and get drunk and hang back and chill together and drink. And we would get pretty wasted and turn out. Sean would wait till I went to sleep and would come in and, Sean's only like 14, 15 at the time, would slide his hands up and try to get me aroused. And I woke up a few nights with him sucking my dick or trying to sit on top of me. And I pushed him off and told him to relax. And, he's too young. And when he gets 18, we'll talk about his age, hooking up. But I wouldn't do it till he was 18. And kind of pushing back and doing everything like normal. Well, during the time of this happening, his grandmother also had this huge crush on me. And she knew that I was a stripper and a model. And they would come to Long Beach and LA and Hollywood, where I was strip at in the clubs, Circus, Arena, Temple, Fire Island, Executive Suites, a few other clubs, and would come help me and support me and hang back and chill. And so things were as they were. And I started using my body to get what I wanted. Escorted for a while. Then I got a little more smart about my aspects of life and got sugar daddies and sugar mamas to come around. And as much as they got to see me naked and suck my dick or to play around with me, they would pay me money to hang back and chill. So I did what I had to do and survived. I moved out, got different boyfriends, and started paying rent and living life like normal. Life was going cool, life was going perfect. And I would still, on the weekends, they would, Sean and his grandmother would come pick me up, and we would go back to the hotel and hang back and chill and go out to movies and shopping and sprees and things like that, and then drink and go home. And every once in a while, Sean would come in and hop in the bed with me and want to do stuff, and I would wake up and push him away and tell him to relax and move on. Then, to make sure it stopped happening, I started bringing my boyfriends with me when I started going over to the houses to hang back and chill with them to ensure that nothing would happen. And things were going perfect and cool. And then the days that I didn't bring my boyfriends with me, or the days that we were drinking harder than normal, Sean would do it again, and it is what it is. Then Sean found out that his grandmother had got drunk with me, and she did it. She started sucking my dick and wanting to have sex. And I got arrested for 8 months in county jail, and I was gone for a while. And when I finally came back, Sean's grandmother had told Sean about that her and I had an encounter of her sucking my dick and going off, and that I didn't stop her. And Sean got mad, I guess, that I didn't do anything with him, but I was willing to do something with his grandmother. So he waited for her to call me to invite me to Motel 6. And I went to Motel 6 and hung back and chilled like normally. And we started drinking, hanging back, and then there was a knock on the door. And then Sean told me to go open the door. So I got up and opened the door, and there's 2 cops sitting there. And they go, "Are you Ty?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Do you know Sean Blakeman?" I go, "Yeah, he's right there." And they told him to come over, and they asked me, "Is this the guy?" And Sean said, "Yeah." And I go, "Am I the guy what?" And the officer told me, this is the guy that, you're the guy that Sean says has been molesting him since the age of 15. And at this time, he was 17, about 17 and a half, 6 months from turning 18. And they told me, "Am I on probation and parole?" I told them I was on parole, and they told me, "Cool, turn around." They cuffed me and put sex charges on me. My God. It was harder. I'm in Orange County, a Caucasian neighborhood, Caucasian community, Caucasian court, Caucasian DA, Caucasian judge, and I'm a black man with an Asian attorney. And the DA and the side chambers laughed at us and told us, "I don't even have to fight this case. You guys are not going to win here. So you might as well take a deal." So I went to court, and they told me that if I was found guilty, that Sean would step up in court and give a convincing story, and they were going to try to give me 127 years to life. Fearful of what was happening. And this was at the same time that, what's his name? Bill Cosby was fighting his case. So, a dark-skinned person looking in court didn't look good no matter what happened anyway. And they weren't believing anything that was being said anyway. And I didn't want to catch life in prison for something that I didn't do. I can't lie. When me being asleep or happening like that, I would wake up to feeling something sucking my dick, and it felt good. And still being out of tune or, out of it, I let it happen for a while, and then I would wake up and realize it was him and push him off, and the whole incident would happen. And I always never ever tell on him, though. I would always feel bad for him because I knew how he felt when being molested, and I know that being molested, you tend to get used to the features and you fall into the lifestyle. That's how I became a gay man. That added to the fact of having so many kids. Moved on and lived life. And
How many years did you do?
so for the case, I took a deal for 10 years with 85%. I did 7 years and 6 months. I just got out May 1st, actually. So I have been down for 7 years and 6 months before that, from May 1st. Went to every rough yard. Got tired of the gang life. I got jumped out of my gang while I was in prison. They found out that I was gay, and even though I was having sex with a few of my homeboys from the hood, everybody had to put on a big macho act to kind of not get in a victim position. And I was jumped by 15 homeboys from my hood and 15 homeboys that were in the unit. So 30 people jumped me. They cut my throat. They sliced the back of my head. I got stabbed 6-7 times. They put me in a coma for 9.5 months. It took me a year and a half to learn how to walk again. Was in a wheelchair. Thank God the first time that my mom and dad came to visit me and my sisters was when I was in the hospital. I went from 172 pounds, 17.5-inch arms. Dude, I was the most amazing looking person possible. And when I woke up from a coma, I was 120 pounds. Intravenously, that's how I was being fed. My God, it took everything. My greatest achievement at the time was just being able to stand up on my own, to use the bathroom, take a piss. They took the catheter, they had the catheter in me the whole time I was in a coma, and they took it out, and God, that was a reckless feeling. I couldn't testify on my homeboys or tell on anybody because being mauled and had the shit beat out of me. I don't remember faces or what happening. It's funny now that it's been, maybe 12 years from happening. I can now vividly see faces of what happened. I remember the first guy who hit me. I remember I knocked out 2 of the guys. I remember the first guy who put a blade out and slit my throat. I can take a pencil right now and draw their faces. I remember everything but everything now. And it took years for it to happen. And all this happened in 2005. So I walk with a cane, moving around, because my stability for walking is still shaky. I have terrible seizures, bad seizures, and I don't know when they're coming. Just in the program that I'm in now, I'm in a sober living home because my parole officer put me in this program to help me get over my anger issues. I don't do drugs, I don't drink. I drink beers when I play pool or something like that, but I don't get involved in anything like that. I don't have the issues with drugs or drinking. No inclination to use it to fall or to use it as an scapegoat to get away from feelings or emotions. So I push away from my parole officer because I feel like she has something against me. But I'm willing to do any and everything to stay out of trouble. I'm stuck with this parole officer because I got out and have to register as a sex offender. I have an ankle monitor on, and I have to go through courses and classes and meetings and groups about something that has no feelings or emotions for me. I don't have any thought processes when kids walk by or anything like that. I can care less about them. Give me a cute older guy or a gorgeous, sexy girl who just, who's wild and exotic, and fuck, I'm on. That a kid could buy me, dude, immediately I see myself as a kid, and I recall everything that happened to me vividly, and I can relive it over and over and over again. And it's nerve-wracking, actually. I can picture myself screaming. Being a 15, 14-year-old kid, growing up, having a family member who was like over 10 inches rape me, and kind of get through it and not telling anybody because nobody believed me anyway. And I bled a few times and got over it. Then my cousin, Alton, as I got older and lived on my own, he came down to Long Beach and met up with me and got curious enough to fall for my dick instead of my ass. And going through what my mom and dad taught me, learning to forgive and move on, I forgave him, and being stupid, I had sex with him, and then I moved away. Just couldn't deal with it anymore. Never ever told. I'm pretty sure my family, my sisters and stuff are probably watching, are gonna see this and probably be enlightened by all of this. I never told anybody. I felt ashamed, I felt scared. I swore nobody would ever believe me. I figured they thought that I would use it as an excuse for why I became attracted to guys and not just man up and just say that I was always into dudes. I don't know. I listened to all these psychiatrists and all this bullshit happening, and everybody talks about like, you're gay because you're born that way, and I don't think so. I think the actions of what happened to me and going through it so much and having to shut the fuck up and keep it to myself and take it, and then taking it so much, enjoying it, and enjoying it so much, jumping out to the fact of actually using it to get what I wanted to get in life is what motivated me to become a gay man. And then after doing it for so fucking long, things are where they are. And life is how it is. And then I have my Facebook pages and my modeling accounts and my modeling companies I own. As the CEO of a modeling agency, as the CEO of a strip company, and I have dancers that work in all through California. I have a couple models that work in the Philippines, a couple in Thailand, one in the UK, 2 in Cuba, 1 in Colombia, 2 in Australia, a couple in Idaho, New York, and we work out. And I have a site that I pay and put together to help promote us and keep us going. And I modeled for so long, and I was so great, attractive to it, that I expressed life as it was. And I never became ashamed of who I was or what I was about after being dominated so much as a kid that I took advantage of my weaknesses and became the teasing figure that most people know me to be today. And I get in the company and I meet David. And David tells me, he lets me watch his video, and him and I become best friends because I feel like his whole story is my story. I feel like his shadow. I'm the darker version of him. Only difference between us is that David stays straight and I turned gay. But we're best friends and we hang back and chill. But because of our lifestyles, we're stuck in the same program. So we're living home. And we still have to dictate to parole officers that we're sex addicts and that we have to go through this course, and they still worry about us being around kids, and we have no feelings or emotions toward them anyway. But, society or the government or groups don't really give a fuck about what you think or care. They go by who you are as a person, what your record says. So I meet everybody, and everybody knows me. And on Facebook, I'm loved. I go from, I think, 50 friends before I get arrested. And I have my family keep posting pictures and quotes of me and things like that. And I get back out. And now I think I have almost 2,000 buddies on my buddy list now. And everybody hits me because I post my pictures, and my Facebook page has got half undressed pictures of me and showing my bulge in my ass and my great fucking body, and the teasing sensations of me dancing in clubs and getting into it, and the support I have from my family. And I know my sister Toya, the one I end up meeting later in life. At the age of 16, 17, I finally meet my birth brothers. I find out that I have my brother Royzel, Julius, Eddie, who we call Snoopy, and Reggie, who I've never met, but find out I have boys in my family now. And I don't know how to explain or talk to them. Like, I didn't grow up with boys, so I grew up with girls. And my sisters had fucking all attractive boyfriends. And they were cute, but I didn't like their attitudes. So I would sneak off and go get with my own guys and sneak with a couple girls and live life and try to jump back and forth. And the funny thing is, Sean at the time, the guy who accused me for molesting him, was trying to be a police explorer too, a sheriff explorer. So I would tell him about my life, and I told him about me being molested and things happening to me. So I think I helped encourage him to use his tools as a sheriff explorer to convict me of what was going on. So, I mean, I take blame in it. It's hard. I cry. Cried for years. I cried so much that I don't worry about the tears, you know? I've learned to hide them back. Fucking inside, I feel broken. I can't go to holidays or events, or I can't do anything because of my ankle monitor. And I had club owners who were willing to, because they were so in love with my dancing abilities and my presentation with clientele and how clients came and tipped me. I was a kid, and on an average night, on a bad night, I would walk home with anywhere from $6,000 to $9,000 in tips. I had bags. I would come in bucket loads. On my Facebook page, I have buckets of money that I would make. And I would do private parties at people's houses, guys and girls, or mixed parties. And then I realized that I was so good at guys and girls that I became a swinger. And I kept girlfriends who were so into my body, and they loved the fact of watching me fuck guys or suck dick or lick ass. And they loved the passion that I had and how I was a thug when it came to being protective of them, and I was a fighter, and I'll protect anybody I care for. And if you cross anybody that I'm really cool with, like, I'll come and get you. My mentality. So I believe my parole officer put me in this sober living home to help me get over my addiction of anger. And at least I hope so, and not being bitter towards me. But I'm using it to learn the 12 steps of alcohol and drugs and any symptoms, and I'm getting the best pieces out of it to get over my attitude issues. And it's hard. Being in a house full of drug addicts and ex-drug addicts and ex-drinkers, and their fucked up attitudes and their fucked up thought processes and their fucked up moods because they don't have a drink or they're not high at that moment, and then waking up on the wrong fucking side of the bed, and them snapping at you because you're the only sober motherfucker in the whole house. And then they say something because I'm still new, and they're not aware of the fact that if I want to act stupid and dumb and fucking want to fight, dude, I already know I'm going to get life in prison, so fucking why stop, you know what I mean? Why be a kind cat? And if I'm going to get locked up regardless, and my parole officer looks for any and every fucking reason to lock me up. It's like, it is what it is. I have the love and loyalty of the staff there, and the guys, how things move there.
What's the most important thing you've learned in all of this? It's a hell of a story. Hell of a life you've lived.
I trust my first feelings. I've learned boundaries. If I don't fit with you, if you're fucking up and I don't like how you feel, dude, I'll cut you off completely. I was such the person to always please everybody, to keep everybody close to me. I don't give a fuck about that anymore. If I'm cool with you and everything goes to it, I'll bend over backwards for you. I got your back and I'll do everything for you. If there's something about you that's wrong, dude, I don't want you fucking near me. And I don't care anything about you. And I'll love you to death, and I'll pray for you, and I'll keep my mind and ears and eyes open for you and hope the best for you, but I don't want to deal with you. I've been with enough shit already, and I don't want to go back to it. And I don't want it around me. And I'm 39 years old, and I've done over 23 years in prison. I did a 15-year term. My God, fucking grew up in prison. It's fucking sad. I met my mom, my birth mother. We have issues. I forgave her for giving me up. My mom, my adopted mom, Effie taught me well. She made me the man I am today. She taught me so many higher remarkable integrity. And I have sisters who, even through my fuck-ups, are still there for me. My adopted sisters and my birth sister, LaToya, who we call Toya, all of us, like, will always be there for me, will always give me an ear. If I ever need to call them and talk to them and let them know I'm going through something, like, is always there for me. In the sober living home that I'm living in at now, yesterday, we had a drive-by during one of our meetings, our group meetings. And the day before, one of our other group meetings, there was another drive-by. And it's so fucking reckless and stupid. The guys in my company, in the program, instead of being smart and jumping on the floor like a smart person would fucking do, these guys go outside, open the door and go back and chill and want to look around. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, is this your first time? But, yeah. You live and learn, eh? I'm gonna save myself and everybody around me that I fucking really hold dear. There are many people in the program that I love to death. I'm the dumb, stupid kid. Before I got into the program, I had money in the bank. And I still pay rent on the houses and my car, and looking for work and getting back into it. And after the 90-day blackout period, I'm a manager for a phone, you know, the company that gives out free phones and tablets to people. I'm one of the managers for the company at top. And they're waiting for me to get off the 90-day ops so that I can get back into work. And then PHP, People Helping People, a brokerage firm, seen my Indeed account and what I go through, and talked to me, had a cool interview and things going back and forth, and were even with me as I got incarcerated and came back, and they're willing to do everything for me to help me out. Nerve-wracked when I posted the fact that there was a drive-by in my family and at the house, and everybody's texting me like, are you safe? Is everything cool? And I'm like, yeah, I'm used to this shit. I grew up in a gang neighborhood. This is nothing for me. But I don't know if I'm able to say I understand there are a lot of people who get hit with charges like me who didn't do anything wrong. I mean, there are some fucked up people that put us in weird, awkward positions. But then there are a lot of us with these bands on there who are really fucked up and stupid and did crazy fucking shit. And it's hard being around people like that. And while being incarcerated, there's many of them I wanted to fucking whack left and right. Like fucking had sex with fucking 4 or 5-year-old kids. And they were cool with it and wanted to talk about it and talk back and forth and share pictures, and couldn't stand these motherfuckers. Then I feel like I'm there like, fucking I'm here for a fucking bogus charge, but I'm stuck with all this shit. And this is a lifetime thing. And I don't know what's gonna happen. But I thank God that who I was as a person and my ambitions and my goals and my jobs and going to schools and degrees and stuff that I got make me a remarkable person to companies. I have a 3-page resume that's fucking impeccable. I have teachers and jobs and colleges that are still willing to write for me, and people that are still going to trust me, even with my monitor on me and everybody knows everything. I'm not a person to hide it. If you want to know about it, I'll tell you about it. Tell you about the case, tell you about my charges, tell you I got a band on, tell you that I can't visit people's houses. I can't get a sexual fucking arrangement of going to hang back and chill with anybody because I can't visit properties. And if I go to somebody's house, I might get violated. And my parole officer will look for any reason to lock my ass up. So I don't want to give into it. But, shit happens. Would I hook up with anybody in my program? Nah. I have no ambitions or goals to want to hook up with people that do drugs and stuff like that. I never got into it before. I don't plan to start now. But I want to seek a new start. I'm thankful for all the fucked up shit I've gone through. It's given me experience to learn, to try to help somebody who's going through similar mistakes and give them advice on what to do and what not to do so they don't end up in a position like mine, so they don't get stuck with it. If I had somebody to tell me how I'm talking right now, I was able to watch a video like this, fucking life would be so grand for me right now. I would be fucking running for fucking mayor or something for some city. I would have fucking moved a long time ago. I would have lived life perfectly. I would be in Puerto Rico right now helping me build everything back up to fucking get everything going back to life. I would be chilling. I would be fucking probably married to a girl, having a boyfriend on the side, and enjoying every bit of it. I would be fucking an amazing man. I love how even through what I'm going through, even through my time, even through my charges, my birth kids still fucking want to contact me. Even though their mothers are mad that I'm with guys and want to be with me, that my kids still want to fucking figure out who I am. My kids are 18s, 19s and fucking living life. And I had my first kid when I was 14. I had twins when I was 15 and had triplets when I turned 18. And then more kids beyond that. Fucking 11 kids. I had 12, but my son died while I was incarcerated in a car crash. But it's another pain, another story. For anybody like me that has a case, you're stuck with a fucking band on you. Don't give up. Life isn't over. Seek, strive, become better. Don't make any similar mistakes. Be on your P's and Q's, watch your ass. Everybody's watching you. Whether you think it or not, everybody's on you. And they're gonna watch you to make any mistake and they're gonna send your ass back. And if you're fucking stupid enough to make the same mistakes, my fucking wish to you is go lock yourself up. Spend the rest of your life in there, enjoy yourself. You have more fun in prison than you would out here anyway. For you motherfuckers that wanna live life and become better, strive. Seek life, man. If you're a kid and you're being touched and molested by somebody, say something. Put their asses on blast. Stop that shit short. Don't be reclusive. Don't lock it up. Say something. It will make you a better person. Use what you've learned, what you've gone through, and be better for somebody younger so that the kids today don't have to go through the shit that we went through as younger kids. We lived in lives where it was okay to do something like that as long as it was quiet and kept secret, or they threatened you with fucking your life or taking shit from you. It's not worth it. Be better, man. Everybody, be stronger. Live life.
It's unfortunate that kid did that to you. You had to do all that time.
You know what the funniest part is? He fucking, when I get out, he contacts me.
When you got out?
Yeah, after he got out, I mean, I recklessly put my number on Facebook and everybody still contacts me, you know, from my modeling account. He calls me. And from a blocked number, a smart little kid. And he tells me that he's sorry and that he feels bad for what happened. And that if he could relive life, he would have never put me in a position that he put me in. And that now that he's older, that he's waiting for and hopefully willing that he can meet up with me to actually experience fully what it feels like being with me after him seeing all my pictures and stuff like that. And that he's glad that he's older now, he can accept it. And that he's bigger and more mature enough to take my size and enjoy every bit of it now. And I was like, you fucking serious, dog? Like, you had the audacity to fucking have me threatened with 147 years to life in prison? And you fucking jump up with it and go through all that shit? And then you get up and you grow older and you realize how fucking worthless of a person you are? And then you call to apologize? Because you thought the old forgiving me is gonna give a fuck about it today? Motherfucker, you know what prison did to me? Prison taught me to hate people around me. I don't trust anybody. There's an ambition beside everything. You have to be a completely amazing person for me to be close to you now. If I don't see it, I don't care for you. That's all I got to say, man.
Very time.
Thank
Thank you so much. Very interesting. Thank you.